I truly enjoyed this assignment. I felt it was very practical, and I will definitely use the skills that I practiced in my teaching every day. So as far as the instruction, I felt that the lesson went very well. Um, I I enjoyed the activity. You know, it was designed for fifth grade band students, you know, their second or third time playing the flute. And so the goal was just to play a lot. And we were secretly learning about articulation, but um, I kind of hid it under the guise of we're improvising, and this is a new sound that we can make on our flute with two two rather than just hoo hoo hoo. And obviously, you know, these students that I just taught picked it up very quickly. If this had been a fifth grade band class sectional, it would have taken a lot longer. Um, but let's see. As far as um, the first learning segment, when I was asking them just to make a noise on the head joint, and one of them was having more trouble, I asked the student, "Are you sounding like me?" And I guess after taking this class, I'm learning that that is a form of self-assessment. You know, the student has to say, "Do I sound like the teacher or not?" So, and that wasn't really planned into my lesson. I mean, I wrote down whether I wrote down an informal assessment. You know, the teacher would listen and try to guide the students as far as they needed to go. But I think that doing self-assessment, asking the students questions about how they sound, can be really powerful, and it'll make them really want to listen to themselves and to other people. Um, let's see. The lesson, just in general, was really fun. One thing my peers were trying to act as though they were fifth grade boys, which they did very well. And they gave me some feedback about how when the boys start goofing around, they said that they appreciated that I kept calm and kept focused on the lesson and didn't make a big deal out of it. But one really good piece of advice that Mason gave me was, if a student is crossing his legs or kind of slouching, to say just for everybody, "Okay, posture check." And then everyone would, you know, because all of us are lazy and we tend to, you know, slouch or whatnot. And so doing that, I wouldn't have to call a student out, and it might save time, and everybody would have a chance to improve. So I think that's a really good classroom management idea, just addressing the group, and then if it doesn't get fixed, addressing the individual. As far as the assessment tool went, I really think that going through and doing this helped me to assess more clearly during the lesson. Not even that I was necessarily thinking specifically about this, but I think having thought about it, I just did assess more, which makes sense. I organized it in chronological order, so the assessments followed the order of the lesson, which I think was really helpful. It made it really easy when I was going back and watching my video to just circle the different, oh, the student did this. I did one for each of them. I just circled the different places where they were able to, whether they were at meeting objectives or developing skills, or they have a responsibility to ask for extra help. And yeah, in general, they were, I mean, they did a great job, obviously, because they are music students. One thing I realized was that in the top section of my rubric, I talked about students can produce an articulation. And then the third section of my rubric is students can repeat each other students' rhythm. And then on this descriptor, I restated, so students can repeat each other's rhythm, and the meeting objectives was that they could also produce a 2-2 if they could, inside of the category of listen to others' rhythms. So that was redundant. That's something that I will fix. I will need to fix for next time. But in general, this was very helpful. Just to create it, just to go through the discipline of doing, making a rubric. And let's see. As far as this informing my future teaching, I think it would be very helpful because I have like an advanced section, and if I have thought about this stuff, I can go ahead and think of extra exercises or songs that will help students who are more advanced and like need to be challenged. And this gives me a really good idea of how they need to be challenged and exactly how much more advanced they are, because sometimes we just hear, oh, that student sounds really good, you know, they need something extra. But let's say they are really good at their articulation, like their articulation is so clear, but then their tone is still, you know, middle of the pack, not so great. I would know what kind of material I could use to challenge them. So I thought that was really, really interesting. Yeah, I mean, both Mason and Austin scored really highly on my objectives, so they need a lot more challenge to practice. But I really enjoyed this assignment. Thank you.